The entire life of a monk is a sacrifice. The monk is helped naturally by his whole way of life to have love and sacrifice. He has set out to die for Christ. In other words, he set out for sacrifice. Having no obligations, the monk is obliged to cultivate the spirit of sacrifice. A layman does not set out to die for Christ. In addition, he has obligations. He must think of his family, his children, and for this he has extenuating circumstances he can be justified. For example, during a war, one who has a family may try to avoid the danger for the sake of his children. He may not think that, in doing so, someone else may die who also has children. In any case, there is here at least a concern for his family. He says, "My children must not be left on the street." He may not even believe in the other life and be only trying to save this life. In other words, Geronda, a monk must be constantly sacrificing himself. Look, didn't we say that the whole life of a monastic person is one big sacrifice? Otherwise, we achieve nothing. If a monastic is making slow progress in this matter, then he is not a monastic. Then where is the spirituality? There is no spirituality when there is no sacrifice. All the spiritual disciplines which a monk does without sacrificing himself are nothing. On the holy mountain, such aspects of the spiritual life, for example prayer, fasting, vigils, and so forth, are called cucus sciatica, scarecrow. In other words, a monk who performs these spiritual disciplines cannot dispel the demons. At best, he may dispel the crows. When someone takes seriously the struggle that must be carried out in this life, there is a divine flame in him. If this divine flame is missing, then he is useless. It is this that gives him joy, courage, Philorimo. This is what the Lord said. I came to cast fire upon the earth. And this divine fire exists, and then the chanting and the prayer we do for ourselves and for others will have results. This is especially true for a woman's heart, which, where purified, has tremendous power. They also make great strides in prayer, becoming a radar for God. Whoever has no Philorimo, no sacrifice, will have either worldly joy or worldly worries, but he cannot experience spiritual delight. This is why I say that sacrifice must be developed, the sense of brotherhood. Each one of you must acquire a spiritual state in order to be able to get through things alone at a difficult time. If one is not in this spiritual state, he may falter because of self-love. He may even deny or betray Christ. You must be prepared to die. Here there are lay persons in the world who sacrifice themselves and don't even believe in paradise. We believe that nothing is lost and our sacrifice has meaning. While lay persons who are ignorant of all these things sacrifice themselves and put themselves in danger to protect others, can monastics neglect to cultivate the spirit of sacrifice? We start out to die for the love of Christ. We have no obligations and well, if we have no sense of sacrifice, what are we doing then? Even the ants will laugh at us. Have you seen ants making fun of humans? They make fun of the lazy ones. Geronda. Is it possible for me to be willing to serve others and not have pure motives? This can be recognized. When the motives are not pure, the soul does not find peace. In this case, you detect the problem and try to purify the motives. I was impressed by one of the souls that came these days. When she learns that someone is sick and suffering, she cannot sleep and cries in compassion. And she lives in the world. She said this to someone and was advised. It may be from temptation. Can this be from temptation? Only if it is done ostentatiously can one be fooled by temptation to live a false spiritual state. Take your own self out of your activities. When someone goes beyond himself, he goes beyond the earth. He moves in another atmosphere. As long as he remains in the self, he cannot become a heavenly person. There is no spiritual life without sacrifice. Once in a while, remember death. Since we are to die, let's not be so attentive to ourselves. I don't mean be careless and allow harm to come, but don't worship peace and comfort. Nor am I saying throw yourself into danger, but at least have some heroism, you know. Look at the heroes and the bravery with which they faced death in battle. I was told by a monk who was with Georgios Kondylis. Kondylis was a patriot, a hero. During the war in Asia Minor, the Greeks had disembarked near Constantinople. Kondylis, still in his ship, saw the city from a distance and, deeply moved, shouted with excitement, "Come on, man, we are going to die sooner or later. Why not today? Let's die bravely. Let's die as heroes for our country." He was eager to approach the landing dock. In his excitement, he didn't notice that the ship had not yet touched the dock when he jumped over the side, and he fell into the sea. That's how excited he was. He was unable to swim, so his men jumped in and got him out. Geranda: You told us to try to keep ourselves out of our activities. How is this done? You like to have everything ready-made. What does it mean to take myself out? When do I take myself out? How are we to take ourselves out of our love? How are we to brighten up our love? The less I consider myself, the more I remove myself. And when we cut our will, our weakness, our ease and comfort, then we take ourselves out too. And a lot of things vanish from our self through obedience and silence. And when our love is not selfish and self-involved again, we take ourselves out, but our love must also be sacrificial. Do you understand this? Let us suppose, for example, that one of the nuns wants to go and see the abbess and sees another sister who also wants to go. If she immediately relinquishes her turn to the other, while knowing that the other does not have serious matters to discuss, then she is truly obedient, sacrificial, and so on. And when with her whole heart she gives up her turn and does not speak with the abbess, well then, it will be Christ himself who will speak with her. But she must take this to be a necessity. Her heart must be in it. And she must not do it merely because the Holy Fathers say so. This way she can receive a double portion of the grace of God. In this case, one nun will be helped spiritually in human terms, while the other will be helped in divine terms, directly by Christ. We see lay people who demonstrate a degree of sacrifice that even monastics don't have in the world, and I am impressed by this. Even though people may not believe, may have their weaknesses, their passions, God provides for them to have a gentle and kind heart. They see someone who is in need, even a total stranger, and they go and help him. Many who do not even believe in paradise, if they see danger, they run to prevent some evil from happening. They will endanger themselves to save others, to save property, and so on. Many years ago, a worker in a factory was in danger of getting caught in the gears of a large machine, and while there were many men around, it was actually a woman who ran to save him. The men who were supposed to be brave stood there watching. Finally, the woman saved the man, but her own skirts got caught in the machine and she was killed. A martyr indeed. Such people don't take their own self into consideration. They throw the self out, and when the self is thrown out, that's when Christ is thrown in.